What's going on, people? It's Dark Negro Fear here again, representing Duel Links Lounge, and we have a new event in the 5Ds world, and now we get our hands on a new character, Dark Signer Carmine. And she's basically a character in 5Ds that focuses on an archetype called Fortune Ladies, and her ace monster that we'll be getting is the Earthbound Immortal Asilapiscu. Will she set herself aside from these mediocre character releases we've been getting, or will she just prove to be a character that we'll just be using her gems and discarding her to the side? Welcome to the Duel Links Lounge review of Dark Signer Carmine. Let's go! So this is your typical average run-of-the-mill gate duelist event, and you're going to be pretty much running around Duel World collecting Dark Signer vestiges through Duel World duels, except gate duels, and up to 3 times a day in ranked, which allow you to duel Carmine and farm her for her new drop rewards. Also, as of yesterday, which was the 29th of August, Asilapiscu has been popping up and allowing you to duel her in turbo duels. So it was pretty much like the Kopakapu event before, where you're basically trying to take down this huge being until you defeat it. Asilapiscu has tons of life points, and your progress is being tracked ongoing until you defeat it. Asilapiscu returns every 8 duels that you do in Duel World, and you have 5 turns to reduce its life points to 0 or it's declared a draw. Since it's turbo duels, you're going to be building up your counters for EX skills, which aid you in just taking down this ginormous beast. You're also going to gain bonus duel assessment for winning this duels, so you don't have to think so hard trying to farm it. Just get the deck that works the fastest for you. So as far as rewards go, a lot of everything added up, you're getting about 330 gems, which is quite low. You're getting about 240 rare orbs, and then everything else is just a conglomeration of SR orbs, UR orbs, extra life, extra card, all the booster crystals. We can see that Konami's doing a real number on the free gems that are available to us, and I hate how they're doing this, but hate to see the gems go, but I would rather just have a better game. But can we at least get 500 gems? Pretty please, LOL. But everything else is solid, and you can actually use a lot of these rewards to progress yourself within the game. And going on to the EX card trader, those boosters, the special guest cards that we're getting here is Wing Sage Falcos, as well as Ling Ling. Everything else is your typical drops that Carly's gonna be dropping. But everything in this card trader is really solid. I like it. I like the surprise Ling Ling because a lot of people don't have that card for Cyber Darks. So this plus these initial rewards that you get, you only have to make them all drop from Carly once, so that makes things really easy for you. So if I urge you guys to make this a priority to clean out the EX card trader, trust you will not be disappointed. Talk a little bit about these drops. Going to Fortune Lady Light, which her effect is basically when this card's attack and defense are equal to its level, so it comes out at about 200 attack. During each of your standby phases, which all these Fortune Ladies do, they increase your level by 1 until you get to about 12, which is the maximum level. When this card is removed from the field by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Fortune Lady monster from your deck. And from what I hear, this Fortune Lady Light is one of the key cards of the archetype, and if it were ever viable, it's very small attack, but when you banish, you get to summon any Fortune Lady from your deck regardless of their levels, and a lot of them have effects or just synergy with that. So cool effect, but nothing too crazy, but I'm kind of excited to try Fortune Ladies. Also, the next drop which we got here is Fortune Lady Earth at level 6, so this is definitely the bigger hitter of the normal lineup. She summons at about 2400 attack, and then she pumps a level every standby phase, giving her 400 for each level. Every time it gains a level, you inflict 400 during your standby phase, but for being a 1 tribute monster, it's nothing really amazing. But I think her in conjunction with the tuner, the level 1 tuner, which is in the new box, she that would be how you make their synchro monsters. So she does kind of have some importance in that in her own right. But pretty much if you need a big hitter, card is also the go-to. Next card up is Fortune Lady Wind. This card's attack and defense are 300 times its level, and then of course it goes up by 1 level per turn during your standby phase. But this card is kind of like a Stygo Kraken for this archetype, except this is targeting, you know, spell or trap cards face up or face down. When it's summoned, you can destroy a number of face up spell or trap cards your opponent controls equal to the number of face up Fortune Lady monsters you control. So initially when she summons herself, you get 1. But the thing with this card is that your opponent has to control exactly how many are equal to your monsters. So that could be like a downside, or that could be upside to it. But, you know, solid card for the archetype. You know, even though we're not in a back row heavy meta, I think that would prove to be useful. So not a bad ad. And then deity basically helps you, aid you in summoning a deity. But you can just use Mausoleum of the Emperor. I feel like that's a way easier way to summon the Earthbound Immortals. But Earthbound Wave is a good negation for spell or trap cards with them if you wanted to use that card. Then going on to the next new Fortune Lady card, Time Passage. It's a quick play card that basically lets you increase the level of a face up Fortune Lady by 3, which seems kind of mediocre, but I guess, you know, it's worth mentioning because it's a quick play. Then the next card we have here is Inherited Fortune, which you can activate during a turn a face up Fortune Lady monster you control is destroyed. You can special summon up to 2 Fortune Lady monsters from your hand during your next standby phase. Now, I guess whenever it's destroyed you can trigger that effect, but it's summoning 2 from your hand. I wish it was like from the deck or something like that, like doing it with Fortune Lady Light. So I'm not too hype about that card when there's so many ways to summon and swarm way better than that. So let's just ignore Inherited Fortune. Yeah, right. So next card up, Fortune Lady Rewind, which basically says target any number of your banished Fortune Lady monsters with different names, and then you special summon them but shuffle them into the deck during the end phase, and you can only activate 1 rewind per turn. Now, pretty cool card for a Fortune Lady deck based off the banishing effect, because a lot of the effects that you'll be focusing on using do banish them. So it's kind of like a return from a different dimension kind of thing going on. But I could see you banishing like a light, right? Because this is just whenever this card, okay, it's removed from the field. But yeah, you can get it. You can basically swarm the field with all your Fortune Lady monsters after you banish them. So I actually see this card being super useful, but they all shuffle into the deck at the end of the turn, so make sure you use this card very wisely. It is a high cost, kind of like an all-in card. But that does it for all the Carly drops. Drops for Carly are, I'd say, pretty decent, nothing meta changing, but if you're pursuing the Fortune Lady archetype like I will be, you'll definitely want to do this event and get those 3-0s, because these don't, I'm surprised that they don't drop for her as a character, but you know, we'll go into that in a little bit. I don't think Fortune Ladies are going to be meta, but I do think they'll be a cool deck to play for fun or on the ladder and whatnot. So now let's check out Carly's level up rewards. The first card I want to start with is Fortune Lady Water, which I feel like is another huge part of the archetype. But you know, remember we were talking about lights getting banished and special summoning Fortune Ladies from the deck, and we also saw Fortune Lady Rewind, which allows us to special summon cards that are banished, which is really easy to banish, and you guys already know that. So the way Fortune Lady Water works, she gains 300 attack and defense for every level, but during each of your standby phases you increase it by 1, which we already know. So when this card is special summon only, while you control a face up Fortune Lady monster except itself, which is another, you know, another water, you can draw 2 cards. So this is like the pot of greed of the archetype. Amazing card, because they also, you know, you'll do a Fortune Lady Light and banish it, then you summon water from the deck when you have another one, or you can do this in conjunction with the Fortune Lady Rewind. So keep that in mind. So pot of greed built into a monster, there's nothing more to be said than that. It has a decent okay attack at about 1200, 1500 to second time. So this is the card that you'll use to get into the deck and draw. Another card that struck me by surprise. I thought it was amazing when I first saw it. I was just like, oh my god, but then I saw its restriction. We got Kato Blepas and the Witch of Fate. When your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, I was just like, oh my god, you could banish a monster with question mark attack to from in your graveyard to destroy the monsters. I was just like, oh my god, that's such a crazy effect, but you'd only be able to use this card in a Fortune Lady deck as it stands, because I've done the search and we don't really have that many question mark monsters that are usable unless you want to just be splashing calculators into your deck. But this card kills multiple monsters summoned at multiple times, so it definitely can be splashed into a Fortune Lady deck and be highly effective. So I'm super excited to try out the Witch of Fate and his homie Keto Blepas. And as we move along to other cards, our next card, Enlightenment. You cannot summon the turn you activate this card. You activate at the end of a damage step if a spellcaster type monster you control is attacked and destroyed an opponent's monster by battle. Oh my god, I don't even remember what I just read right now, but this card is weird because of all of that just to say it can attack again immediately. Oh my goodness. Maybe it can be used in a deck that's not Fortune Ladies, but as of right now, I see this card is utterly useless. So we're gonna just skip over that and go into our next card. So we have the next card, which is Slip of Fortune. This card can only be activated when your opponent attacks your monster. You negate the attack and you banish the monster that they targeted. So it's kind of like Clash, but without the cool ability to chain. So, doesn't reduce an attack. You only have it's not chainable, so it's really a big, huge downside to this card. So Slip of Fortune, cool if you want to be Carly, but this is not. We're clashing, boys. We're never bending destiny. We're never slipping fortunes, that's for sure. Then our next card, which I thought was an amazing card, is this card right here, Bending Destiny, a counter trap. You rarely see those anymore in this game, but this card right here, if you only control Fortune Lady monster, you can negate a spell or trap or normal summon of a monster and banish it. That is insane. The only downside to this card is that the remove from play card is returned to its owner's hand, and we only can run one of this because it's only one available. So I would think this card would be super crazy if you could do multiple, but still being able to banish a card or negate a normal summon is just amazing to me. So this is the card that made me want to be like, okay, I want to try Fortune Ladies. But cool card, definitely a solid level up reward. You know, I have a low expectation of in-game rewards, so when I actually get a good card, I just lose my mind. So actually a good card. I like Bending Destiny. And then last but not least of the level ups, Fortune Vision, a continuous card that has a big huge paragraph for us to read. And so the way this card works, even though it's a continuous card, it has a trigger effect, which basically when you activate it, as soon as you activate the card, you get to search any Fortune Lady from your deck to your hand. So this is auto tutor, so this is a staple already. But then while it's on the field, it has a continuous effect, which basically states when your monster is banished, all your monsters can't be controlled by card effects, even if it leaves the field. And then if your opponent has monsters that get banished, except during the damage step, you can make the next battle damage you take 0. So if you're banishing your opponent's monster somehow, you're reducing your damage that you take following up to 0. So this is a really solid card for the archetype, and it's only a once per turn effect to follow up, and I would like to see more of these cards. But that's gonna do it for the level up reward. Earthbound Immortal Astelapiscu, just as crazy on the show. Pretty much it has a typical restriction where if there's no field card on the field, you destroy it, and there only can be one Earthbound Immortal at a time on the field. this card attacks directly like all of them as well. But the thing that separates this card from the other is that when this card leaves the field, so every reason that it leaves the field face up except for its own effect, which was, you know, getting destroyed, it will destroy all your opponent's face up monsters and inflict 800 damage to them for each monster destroyed that was face up. So that is amazing for an Earthbound Immortal card. They're really, I find them easy to summon because you can just do a mausoleum play, but huge at 2500 direct attack, face up on the field, goes to the graveyard, just destroys all your opponent's monsters. So this card can actually be a threat because, you know, they're threatening damage directly, so they have to do something to that card, and then whatever they do to that card that's a monster is just getting destroyed. So definitely something you want to trigger, definitely easy to summon, and I do like this Earthbound Immortal. Now all we got to do is just get some more Dark Signers, and then we can actually make a deck. So I'm super excited to try that out. But yeah, let's go on to the skills now. So skill wise, Carly has Immortal Offering, she has Immortal Charity, Future Fortune, Fortune Overclocked, Fortune Telling, Draw Pass, Draw Sense Dark, Fortune Booster, Level Up, Power of Dark, Restart, Seal of Immortal, and Time Passage. And I'm gonna talk about pretty much the main skills that are unique to her and the Dark Signers. That's Immortal Offerings. Basically, it reveals 1 to 3 Earthbound Immortals in your hand, and you can play an equal number of ceremonial tokens in defense position. And during the turn you use the skill, you can't normally special summon it. It's just keeping you restricted to using Earthbound Immortals. Since we only have 2, this card can maximum only allot you 2 tokens. So could be useful. It'll definitely be useful when we get more Earthbound Immortals. So good enabler. Then we have Earthbound Charity. Pretty much can be used if you control the Earthbound Immortal monster. So once you get that Immortal monster out, you set a Whirlwind, a Wave, or a Roar of the Earthbound. Whirlwind basically destroys all the spell or traps. Wave, we already know, negates any spell or trap. And then Roar of the Earthbound, basically when an opponent declares an attack, you target the attacking monster and destroy it and inflict half the destroyed monster's attack. But you only can do that with an Earthbound Immortal higher than the attack of the monster. So it has to be bigger. So skill can be really garbage or it can be really good, who knows. But you're setting it from outside your deck, so that's pretty cool. Then the Fortune Lady specific ones. Future Fortune, as long as you control 2 or more Fortune Lady monsters, you can view the top card of both players' decks. Very mediocre, I'd say, because we have Mind Scan, which is 10 times better and is kind of a lot more maintainable. And viewing just the top card of somebody's deck is really just not even the tip of the iceberg. So I wouldn't even find this effect useful even in a deck built around Fortune Ladies. Like, why wasn't there a Fortune Lady skill that can banish Fortune Ladies for you? That would have been nice. That would have been. Think about it, Konami. Then the next one coming up, we got Fortune Overclock. This card right here basically selects 1 Fortune Lady monster you control, and that monster level becomes equal to the current turn count. And then maximum it can go up to is 12. And then at the end of the turn, it basically just returns back to normal. And this is only once per duel, so Overclock can actually enable OTKs with the right monsters. So maybe there can be like a Fortune Lady OTK deck or something of that sort, but I actually like this skill, Overclock. So definitely something to consider if you're going for that OTK factor. Then we have Fortune Telling. All you're doing is selecting 1 Fortune Lady monster you control, and you're activating the top card of your deck. And if it's a monster, you're boosting the lady that you selected by the level of the lady that you found that you activated on the top of your deck. This is once per turn and twice per duel. Now, I don't think there's a way you can manipulate the top card of your deck, and all you're doing is really just gaining levels off doing this, and I don't really find that useful for Fortune Ladies. But maybe in a synchro deck where you really need to use a skill, maybe it'll be useful. But as of right now, I'm deeming it kind of whatever. Yeah, it's not really that useful, or doesn't sound that useful. Next skill we got here is Fortune Booster. And pretty much this card right here, this skill, at the beginning of your turn, you increase the level of all Fortune Lady monsters you control by 1. This card can actually be useful because then they'll be gaining 2 levels a turn, which will actually give them probably a solid attack. I've only seen 300 and 400 boosts, so 600 boosts and 800 boosts every turn. That seems a little bit more doable. Maybe this will be the optimal go-to skill for the Fortune Ladies. We'll see. And then next skill, Seal of the Immortal. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, Earthbound Immortal monsters cannot be destroyed by their own effect. So basically a 2-turn protect technically, but it's only once per duel, so I don't want to hype it up too much, but it's whatever. Oh my god, it's whatever. Surprise there, right? And then last but not least, Time Passage. It's basically a skill version that's not a quick play. A skill that basically allows you to select one Fortune Lady monster and increase its level by 3 until the end of the turn, and that's once per turn and twice per duel. So 1200 if you're boosted by 400 and 900 if you're boosted by 600. So something to check out. Maybe it'll be useful in a Fortune Lady deck at some point, but it's just a skill boost. I'm sorry, it's just an attack boost. So that does it for the skills. Dark Signer Carly event is kind of mediocre at best because it's kind of, we're already over the Kopakapu event, and this is just basically of that. You're basically grinding this event for a free character that only gets you about 2,000 gems, if that, and then the event itself only about 330 gems. Make it 500, Konami. Listen, the resources are cool for later in the game, but I wish we had something more entertaining to farm characters, so it is what it is. Harley as a selectable character seems to be out the window, as we're just going to be going for the free gems. But she does bring Fortune Ladies to the table, and I am excited to try them out, but unfortunately they're not playable until you invest in the box. So Konami's kind of got us by the balls there. But you can't win them all. They have some good generic skills, but you'll probably only be using her if you're an avid fan of her. So what do you think they can do better? I think events will just never be, to me, events will just never be good until they just give us enough gems to not care about how garbage the events are. But what do you think? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little in-depth review of what I think about Carmine. But with that said, everybody enjoy yourselves, and peace out. Duel Links Lounge, we are out of here.